Hello guys, my name's Colin and this is Colin Talks Crypto. In this video, we're going to cover EOS DeFi, decentralized finance on EOS, and how it is exploding. And specifically, we're going to cover some of the projects that I've been following and my take on those projects. We're also going to compare some of these projects to their counterparts on the Ethereum blockchain. Thank you for joining me. All right, guys, so I'm going to keep this video very low key. This is not a hype video. It's going to be a very long video. And so if you want to jump ahead to any specific token or project that interests you, please do so. The timestamps will be in the description below, so make sure you check that out. Now, I want to make sure that you guys are aware that I am not pumping these projects. I am not promoting these projects. I am not recommending that you buy these projects or any token correlated with these projects. I am just sharing with you what I understand about these projects. And this video is basically going to be me, Colin Talks Crypto, sharing the recent EOS DeFi projects that I've been interested in with my audience. And I generally just do videos on the things that have piqued my interest at the moment. And so this past week or two, I've really been digging deep and diving deep into the subject of EOS DeFi. And so first, before we get into the actual EOS DeFi projects, I'm going to name them off, and then we're going to do a comparison with some Ethereum statistics as well. So in this video, some of the projects we're going to be talking about and covering in varying lengths, because on some of these projects I have dove deeper and some I've only got the surface understanding. So I'm just going to share with you what I understand about these projects. It may be a lot, it may be a little. But the list of projects that we will be touching upon in this video include LiquidApps with the DAPP token, DefiBox with the Box Governance token, Organix, the OGX token, the DAPP Account DAO, which is the DAD token, and that's probably one that none of you, or almost none of you, have heard of before. It will be a bit of a surprise here. The Vigor Protocol, the VIG governance token, and the Vigor stablecoin. And lastly, the Bancor project with the BNT governance token. So that's what we're going to be covering in this video. If you like any of those, or if you don't want to listen to any of those, please skip ahead to those sections. Now, again, before we get into those specific projects, we're just going to do a bit of an overview on the EOS DeFi space and how it relates to the Ethereum DeFi space and what I see in it. So right now, the total value locked on the EOS blockchain in terms of DeFi platforms rests at around $111 million USD. That's really, really small, but that is tremendously higher than it was just a month or two ago, where it was about $15 million, as you can see on this awesome site. And this is eospayout.com/DeFi. And so it tracks all the different projects. You can see, for example, DefiBox has locked a total of about $50 million on its platform and so on. Now, it doesn't have all the platforms that we're going to talk about today. Now, how does EOS DeFi compare to Ethereum DeFi? As we are all well aware, Ethereum DeFi has been exploding for the past year. It's definitely the #1 smart contract blockchain that has to do with DeFi, and it is definitely #1. But as you also are probably aware, Ethereum has some limitations currently, and it's trying to overcome those limitations with the Ethereum 2.0 migration, with its 6-phase migration plan from the original Ethereum 1.0 blockchain to the proof of stake Ethereum 2 blockchain. But that's going to take a long time, and I think that we may see the very first phase begin in the next couple months, if we're lucky. And I think that we'll probably see the last phase in a couple years, if we're lucky. And so as you can see, there's a lot of time between now and when Ethereum 2.0 is finished. And in the meantime, Ethereum is a victim of its own success. Ethereum's fees are higher and higher than ever before. We actually recently hit its all-time highest transaction fees. And that might be a couple bucks when you're sending just a simple monetary value transaction between you know, peer-to-peer and a friend. But if you're doing a complex smart contract platform operation, like a DeFi smart contract operation, such as on Uniswap or any of these other DeFi platforms on the Ethereum blockchain, you could easily run yourself $30, $40, $50 because they do require sometimes more than one transaction and many operations within each transaction. And so the gas fee becomes very prohibitively expensive. Now, again, that's a con. The cost is the con, but the success is the pro. And so I hold a third of my portfolio in Ethereum, and I continue to do so. And I will wait for Ethereum 2.0, even if it takes 2 years from now, even though I've already waited for 4 years to come to that final phase 6 fruition of Ethereum 2.0, because I think that it is very difficult to unseat the first mover of a particular asset class or innovation. And so just like we're seeing with Bitcoin, while it's not the fastest, it's not the cheapest, it's not the best peer-to-peer money that we have, it was first. And that first mover advantage will last for at least a decade or more. And I think the same holds true for Ethereum. And so that is why I do split my portfolio equally between Ethereum and EOS and Bitcoin and some other projects as well. So that's just a bit of an overview. Ethereum does have some current congestion and fee limitations. Now, I found this interesting. When I went to dapptotal.com/DeFi, there's an interesting little comparison here. And we have Ethereum locked. There's 7.8 Ethereum locked, which equals about 7% of the total amount of Ethereum in circulation, or Ether. 7% of the total amount of Ether in circulation is on DeFi with Ethereum. And a very comparable amount is locked up in the EOS DeFi space. We actually have 6.7% of all EOS tokens in circulation locked up in EOS DeFi. And I found that very interesting. We're actually at a very comparable metric here. So I thought that was kind of cool. There's more and more EOS DeFi being locked up, and it actually has come to approach the amount that Ethereum has locked up. And you can see on this pie chart here that the largest named pie slice for DeFi on Ethereum is Uniswap. That is the #1 project on Ethereum, followed by Maker and Aave, and then some other projects as well. This doesn't break it down into too much detail. But we're going to get into some EOS DeFi projects. And the thing about EOS DeFi that's got me kind of excited here is that EOS DeFi, while kind of quote unquote late to the game because its blockchain came around like 4 years later, has some catch up to do on the DeFi space. But EOS is more advanced than Ethereum is today in many regards, not just in performance, not just in speed, not just in cost per transaction or operation, but in actual capability. It is actually in almost every aspect a more advanced smart contract platform. And so the thing I find interesting is that we are actually coming to see much or almost all of the Ethereum DeFi being recreated on the EOS blockchain. And in that regard, it's kind of cool because we have a chance to get in very early on some of these platforms. Imagine if you could get in the first week that Uniswap was brought into existence, or that the Maker DAO was brought into existence. Imagine if you could get in on the ground floor of those projects. Well, with EOS right now, you can, because EOS right now is in the infant stages that Ethereum was a couple of years ago, bringing into light these DeFi projects. And so you actually have a chance to get in on the ground floor. And so I've taken the past few weeks and I actually have started getting involved on the ground floor of many of these different projects. And the way I look at it is they're not all going to succeed necessarily. There's going to be some hits, there's going to be some misses, there's going to be some wins and some fails. But I'm going to take the shotgun approach, and I know that. And so I'll put like, you know, 0.5% of my portfolio in DeFi project A on EOS. And then I'll put another 0.5% of my portfolio on DeFi project B on EOS. And I've done that on like 4 or 5 DeFi projects. So in all, I only have a couple percent allocated to these DeFi projects. But if only one of them shoots to the moon, then it more than makes up for all the money I put into all of them combined and then some. So it's kind of like my intelligent lotto ticket. It's not just a blind gamble, it's a researched, intelligent investment with high risk and high reward. And that's how I'm looking at this. But to be honest, I don't know how high of a risk it really is when Ethereum has been the battleground. Ethereum has proven that this is possible and that this can work. So, for example, we have Uniswap on Ethereum, one of the biggest, and in fact, the biggest DeFi project on Ethereum. And EOS has recreated Uniswap on itself. And we have it in a couple forms right now. So on EOS, the equivalent for Uniswap would be either DefiBox or Bancor. Those are some of the projects that approximate the Uniswap functionality on EOS. And likewise, we have the Maker DAO on Ethereum, which is basically a governance system that upholds the stablecoin system. And we have several contenders for that on EOS that are fairly new as well. We have the Equilibrium project, EOSDT stable token, which has the NUT governance token. And we have the Vigor Protocol, which has the VIG governance token and the Vigor stable token. And we have the DefiBox USN de-anchor stablecoin as well, with the box being the governance token on that one. And we might even have some more. So we have at least 3 stable tokens that have come about on the EOS DeFi space recently. These are not untested areas. On Ethereum, Uniswap is like rank number 26 the last time I checked. And so if you have these other platforms on EOS approximating the same functionality and features that Ethereum has, and you get in at like cents per token or very cheap, there's a chance for an enormous amount of return on investment. And that is what I'm looking at. I'm really looking at, like, again, this is a battle-tested area. The battleground has been tested with these DeFi projects on Ethereum. And so EOS is recreating them. And yes, it needs the users and it needs adoption, but they already are proven to work. And so if I can get in early, then that is what I am trying to do here. And another example of a project that has been built on the Ethereum blockchain, tried and tested and true, and is being ported over in its own version on the EOS blockchain is the synthetix protocol on the Ethereum blockchain. The synthetix protocol basically deals with synthetic assets, and I'm still learning about what that all is. But on the EOS blockchain, we have Organix, the OGX token, and I will get into that later. So I'm just painting a picture that we have a number of battle-tested projects on Ethereum being ported in their own way to the EOS blockchain, and I find that very exciting and a very good opportunity as well. All right, so we're going to jump into our first project here. The first project is LiquidApps with the DAPP token. Now, one of the things that's very exciting about the LiquidApps project is that it just recently joined with the Ethereum blockchain. And so what that does is it allows assets and computational power and resources to be shared across the Ethereum and EOS blockchains. So the LiquidApps project is a project that enables DAPP developers to easily access resources. And now with the Ethereum bridge, an Ethereum DAPP could actually access EOS resources, and an EOS DAPP could access Ethereum resources and liquidity and volume. And you can see where this might lead us because, as I said earlier, the Ethereum blockchain is very congested and has high fees. And so what better way than to take advantage of EOS's super high performance blockchain and very, very low fees. And if you could create a DAPP on the Ethereum blockchain that took advantage of that, you would then have the benefits of both blockchains together. And that is essentially what LiquidApps does. It does this with many different aspects. It has oracles. It has its own oracles that are faster than Chainlink. They update every half a second or a second versus Chainlinks, which update much slower. And that's an example of another battle-tested, tried and true project that is on the Ethereum blockchain, Chainlink, right? Well, that is one of the small parts of LiquidApps. That's a subset of LiquidApps, Liquid Oracles. So the DAPP token, to me, speaking for myself only, is a very smart investment because LiquidApps does what Chainlink does, but better and faster. And that's only one of many things that it does. Some other things that LiquidApps does is enables V accounts, virtual accounts, where you don't have to actually buy the account. You don't actually need to create or buy the RAM to create that account. You don't need the CPU to create that account. You can just, as a DAPP developer, create a game, create an easy login system where you create a virtual account for your user, and it's very seamless and easy for that user. He doesn't have to go into the blockchain and buy a resources to create his account. So V accounts is another feature that LiquidApps brings to the table. They also have VRAM and vCPU, which is virtual RAM and virtual CPU. Again, a way to allow more resources more cheaply to DApp developers. And these are I'm just touching the surface on what LiquidApps can do. So take all that and then wrap it cross blockchain, where you connect to the Ethereum blockchain and you connect to other blockchains as well, because LiquidApps is going to connect to other blockchains. And so I feel that this is a very, very strong project, and I have been following it for a while now, and I'm extremely excited about what they have to offer. Another aspect I learned recently that makes me even more bullish than I already was on LiquidApps is the fact that they have a token supply that is fixed across all blockchains that they may embrace. And so while it started on EOS, and they have, I forget how many tokens they have, they might have about 1 billion plus tokens. Those tokens are the same supply that will be used on Ethereum. They're the same supply that will be used on any future blockchain. It's not like every new blockchain that they connect with is going to have a new token supply. So if I hold some DApp tokens and the LiquidApps network connects to 10 different blockchains, the utility of my token just got 10x'd. It's like Metcalfe's law. The value of the network is exponential with the number of participants. And in this case, the number of participants we're talking about are all the different blockchains that LiquidApps is going to interconnect and share resources with via the DApp creators on all those blockchains. So if you can wrap your head around that, I think that's the best I've ever done at trying to explain how I see this playing out and the true value proposition that the DApp token has. But that's why I am so bullish on it. It's truly, truly powerful. Block One themselves have endorsed the LiquidApps network, and I think rightly so, because when utilized by DApp creators, it's going to unleash power and abilities and resources and speed that has never been seen before across Ethereum, across EOS, and across future blockchains. All right, so moving on to the next project, we have DefiBox. There's a bit to say on this one. So this is sort of like the Uniswap of EOS and more. So DefiBox is a fairly new platform. It has the Box Governance token, and we're going to take a look at this. So one bit of bullish news for the Box token and for DefiBox as a project is that tomorrow on September 25th, this will probably be yesterday by the time you guys are watching this video, because it takes me a little while to edit this. I'll probably have this video up on Saturday. So yesterday, the Box token will have been listed on the OKEX exchange. Now this, in my opinion, I believe is the first major exchange to list an EOS-based token. There might be some others on some minor exchanges or medium exchanges, but as far as a major exchange goes, I think DefiBox is first to that. This is huge news for the Box token in terms of liquidity, onboarding new users, and getting exposure to the broader crypto space. I do secretly hope that the DefiBox project does go cross-chain, but that is something that's likely to happen with the DAD project that we'll get into later in this video. Now, real quickly, DefiBox allows various different things. And I already made a video on this, so I'm just going to rehash this real quick. But basically, it has the ability to swap tokens like Uniswap. In addition to that, you also have the ability to get rewarded by providing liquidity to these various liquidity pools. And you'll get that in terms of the fee revenue as well as mining rewards. So you get a double dip on the rewards here. So if you want to earn a passive income, you can do so doing that. Keep in mind that is risky due to the subject of impermanent loss, and I encourage you to research that before you provide any liquidity to these liquidity pools, but it does offer you that ability. Also, they have the USN stable token, which is the D-Anchor stable token. So they have the ability to swap, they have the ability to provide a stable token, and with the stable token, they're able to give you a loan. So they have the ability to provide loans to users. Now, that's not all. They also have the ability to passively reward yourself by staking the Box Governance token, and you get rewarded in EOS tokens. And this project was created by Nudex and WhaleX, two very reputable EOS decentralized exchanges. And from what I've seen so far, they have been doing a tremendous job with running this. Now, just about a week ago, I was actually very alarmed because they had announced they were going to change the system entirely. They were going to completely remove all box staking rewards. And that was how I had built my portfolio. I had built my portfolio around this model, and suddenly they took it away without asking the community. And it was a very centralized decision. And actually, I was contemplating, should I take my video down because they've really taken a 180 direction? I'm really, really unhappy with this. The market coincidingly dropped with that news, and I just wasn't feeling the project. Luckily, as of about 2 days ago, DefiBox creators made an announcement, and they basically apologized for making that move. They said, you know what, that was the wrong move. That's not how a DAO is supposed to work. And what we are going to do is give you options as a DAO, and you vote and you get to make the decision. And I created a chart to show the different proposal options, to show what they've given the community in terms of choice here. And I really love that they did this. This makes me love the project again, and I think that it's truly going somewhere. So originally, DefiBox operated in this way right here in option number 1, where you had 100 million total box tokens, where we were able to passively stake and get box dividends on the token. Then about a week ago, when DefiBox just out of the blue changed the rules, they said that they're going to do option 2. And this was before they give us any options. They just said, this is how it is. Option 2 is what it's going to be. We're going to reduce the supply to 5 million box. And that's all they said. But I noticed in the fine print that they actually got rid of the box staking dividends. And so I made a bit of a fuss on Twitter about that. And I was really unhappy about that. And I asked for them to make a statement on this, to explain what's going on and why. And we didn't hear anything for about a week. And then 2 days ago, boom, they said, you know what? We realized what we did was wrong. Here are 4 options. You can have it the way it was originally. You can have it the way we just changed it and proposed it, but we're going to accept a vote on this. Or we have option 3 or 4, 2 new options. And real quickly, I believe that option 3 is the superior choice because of several reasons, which I'll briefly go over here. The total supply in options 2, 3, and 4 gets reduced to 5 million box tokens. That's a 20x reduction in total supply of tokens. That essentially means, theoretically, that the value of the token is 20 times more valuable when you go over to this 5 million total supply of the box token. So for me, the option between 3 and 4 is immediately evident. I don't like option 2 because it gets rid of the box staking dividends. So for me, option 2 is out immediately. So it's really between option 3 and 4, because option 4 here is identical to option 1, except it has a reduced token supply. So that's a no-brainer. Option 4 is immediately better than option 1 for token holders because you get a 20x value increase on your tokens because the total supply is decreased by 20x. So really it comes down to, well, what's better, option 3 or option 4? And after digging through this a little more, it also becomes evident that option 3 to me is superior. And definitely make your own decision on this and cast your vote accordingly. But the reason I say that option 3 is better is because it gives back to the token holders completely. 100% of the swap fees go back to box staking token holders. 100% of the lending fees on the USN stablecoin and lending market go back to the token holders. And all token holders are treated equally. It gives DefiBox Foundation the ability to vote just like it does to us. DefiBox currently has about 22.5% of the token supply, so they don't have the majority, and it allows everyone to participate in governance, staking, and dividends. And so 100% of the interest goes to box staking dividends, and basically it gives back fully to the box token holders. So option 3 to me is the best. Option 2 was leaving me wondering what was even the purpose of the box token. Why does this even exist? There was no real reward back to the user. It was very, very small. It was reduced dramatically. So we're actually going to go from option 1 to option 3. And so instead of having a 50% of these fees and trading fees and swap fees and lending fees going to the DefiBox holders, we're going to have 100% going to the box token holders. So I am actually now more bullish than ever on the DefiBox project. I want to give a big thanks to Whalex and Nudex for making that change of decision. I'm actually not sure which of the two, I think it's Nudex makes those decisions, for giving us that choice. And basically how it's going to work is from September 25th through September 27th, roughly, there's a 2-day period where they're accepting Box tokens to vote with your tokens. So if you hold Box, please cast a vote on one of these 4 options. And at the end of the 2 days voting period, they will put in place the option that has the most votes. I believe they needed to have at least 30% of the total token supply voting, and they needed to have at least 28% in favor of one of these options before they would put it in place. So we do need to solidify and unify as a community to pick one of these options and proceed forward. But I think that we will. I think from what I've seen on Twitter that the consensus is pretty strong around option number 3. I would say that from what I've seen, it's like 90% in favor or more of option 3. So it seems like a pretty clear-cut win, but again, we do have to vote to put that into place. So I just made this chart to help you guys understand the options that are at play here. Please do not vote for option 2. That's all I ask you guys. And here is the Box chart on Nudex. Since its inception, you can see it has not been around for very long. It's been around for all of a month, and it shot up quickly in valuation and sort of been settling out and correcting. And just so you guys know where we stand in terms of tokens and the max supply, again, assuming that we get the max supply cut down to 5 million, this is not in place just yet, we currently have 900,000 tokens. So of the original 100 million DeFi Box tokens, we had 0.9% of the total supply so far. It was a 5-year period where the tokens were going to be given to the community very slowly over a very fair mining process. But now that we have what it looks to be 5 million total tokens, assuming the vote passes, we now have a much more significant percentage of the tokens mined. We actually have 20% of the tokens nearly mined. And the rules will take place when we hit 1 million tokens. So the reason I'm showing you this page is because this line right here is very relevant to the voting rules of the options I just showed you on that previous image. And this website right here is marketcap.one, an awesome site for viewing all the EOS tokens, including some of the more underground ones that haven't yet made their way to places like CoinMarketCap or CoinGecko. So marketcap.one is an awesome site for tracking the underground EOS tokens as well as the mainstream EOS tokens. So we're only 100,000 tokens away from reaching 1 million tokens for the Box protocol. And in my estimation, that'll take about another week to hit that million. About 7 or 10 days from now, we'll hit 1 million tokens. I've been watching it climb day after day. But we need 1 million tokens before the new option that we vote for will go into effect. So that's your update on the DefiBox protocol. It's very exciting in my opinion. Moving on, we have Organix. So Organix is, like I said, a lot like synthetix on Ethereum. Its mission statement is to recreate synthetic assets on the EOS blockchain. And so here you can see it. This is ogx.network is the website. And it says mint synthetic assets by over-collateralizing the OGX tokens, claiming the inflationary reward, and the trading fee every week. As you can see, there's a little bit of a translation issue there. Had to modify some of that mid-flight. So I'm not too sure. I want to put a big disclaimer on this project right here, Organix. I don't really know who makes it. I don't know how legitimate it is. For all I know, this could be an exit scam. It may not be. I'm just putting that out there. I don't want someone to buy this and lose a bunch of money and say that Colin Talks Crypto promoted it. I'm just sharing with you. I have bought some tokens. I don't necessarily recommend it, and I'll show you why in a second, why I'm leery. But it's one of my moonshot shotgun approaches. Like if it goes to the moon, then great, I make a bunch of money. And it could be huge because, like I said, Ethereum is the battle-tested ground for all the battle-tested proving ground for all the projects that are migrating to EOS. And so synthetic assets have been very successful on the Ethereum blockchain. So there's no reason to expect that they won't be on the EOS blockchain. So that's essentially what it's doing. It's going to recreate synthetic assets, and they do have a roadmap here. And so in late September, it's going to be available on the testnet, and they're going to start their code audit. Early November 2020, they're going to launch on the EOS mainnet. In December, they're going to collaborate with other DeFi protocols, and so on. And you can see they're going to integrate with more oracles, such as Chainlink. I sure hope that they integrate with the LiquidApps oracles, liquid oracles. That would make the most sense because they're already on the EOS blockchain. But either way, in 2021, they're going to be linking with oracles to provide more synthetic assets. and etc. So they have a timeline here. Now, just because they have a pretty website and a timeline doesn't mean they're legitimate. And they have partnered with Nudex, Whalex. These are reputable guys here, everything EOS. So this makes me think favorably of them. And that's why I did invest a small amount of my money. Now I want to show you the white paper. And this is the one factor I just want you to keep in mind. This is the one red flag that I noticed personally. Everything else about the project I love so far, but this I would not ignore. Token distribution. So there's going to be 100 million tokens. That's fine. Now, look at how many tokens are like pre-sold or locked up or sold before the public even gets them. It's really like all three of these categories combined. The Organix team is going to take 25%. That's pretty huge. That's similar to what DefiBox is taking, to be fair. And a lockup period is 24 months, etc. So that's a large amount of tokens. But not only that, on top of that, the foundation gets 10%. So now we're up to 35%. Who's the foundation? I have no idea. It could be the same as the team for all I know. And then a private sale. I wasn't a part of this private sale. I never heard of this private sale. 39%. So if we add this up, what do we have here? 49%, 59, 69%, 74% of the tokens. 74 million of the 100 million tokens have been basically pre-sold or pre-allocated to either the team, the foundation, or private entities. And who's to say that the team themselves wasn't a part of the private sale? I just don't have enough information on this to know that it's transparent. So that leaves a measly 20% for the public sale and 6% for bounties and marketing and airdrops. You know, I wish that would have been part of the foundation or something. Like, why are they taking more and more percentage of this away? So there's really a very small amount of tokens available. And from what I gathered, the token sale was a very short period of time, a couple of weeks, maybe a month at most. I think it was less than a month. And 25% of those tokens went to the token pocket swap, and 75% of those tokens went for an EOS swap. Basically, you log in with your wallet to their website, you send your EOS tokens, and you get back some Organix tokens. Now, if you did that, you made a tremendous return on your investment. But I didn't hear about this. I didn't know about this back then, so I bought at a higher price. And I'm part of this 20% public sale. I'm actually part of the 20% after the public sale because I wasn't part of this initial public sale. I just bought it off an exchange, right? So that's your disclaimer on this. The breakdown of the tokens is a little alarming. There's an enormous amount of tokens. I mean, I said 74 million, 74%, right? But if you add the bounties and marketing and airdrop, it's actually 80% of the tokens have predetermined, premeditated uses, and 20% is for the public. So what I'm worried about is a massive dump of tokens in the future, a massive dump by all these parties that have way more stake in the Organix system than any of the people who bought it publicly. And so aside from this glaring disclaimer, I think that the platform looks awesome and I hope it's amazing. And maybe they will see this video and make a clarifying statement, but would love to hear from them. And I think they must be somewhat of reputable guys because again, we have LiquidApps, Token Pocket, Everything EOS, Nudex, Whalex, who all these reputable partners supposedly supporting them. Let's hope that they truly are. Again, anyone can make a website, but I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt and say they probably are supported by these partners. I would just love to hear more on the token distribution. And then I'm very excited to see what synthetic assets can bring to the EOS ecosystem. And here's the chart of Organix, the Organix token, OGX, on the Nudex exchange. You can see that publicly it hasn't been available very long. It did have a pretty big run up and it's been consolidating ever since. All right, moving along, DAPP account, the DAPP Account DAO. Most of you probably haven't heard of this. And so it's abbreviated DAD. It's kind of funny, the DAD token. And many in this very small community joke that they have become a dad. They're proud to become a dad when they get their first DAD token. So it stands for DAD is DAPP, the A is account, and the second D is DAO. DAPP Account DAO, DAD. So what is the DAD project? This is a very interesting project. And I'm going to give you my TLDR first, and then I'll start reading you some things on it. I have done quite a bit of research on this, probably more than I typically do on DeFi projects. I did so because I feel like I caught it early. Now, first of all, you can find this in only a couple of places. If you go on Reddit, go to the subreddit DAPP Account DAO. And that's the subreddit I'm looking at right here. DAPP Account DAO is the subreddit where Rahman of Blockstart, the founder or the creator of this idea, has posted his messages. And that was the very first inkling that we had that this even existed. I honestly don't know how someone found this random subreddit and it grew from here, but this is where it all started. So if you want to read from the beginning, come to the DAPP Account DAO on Reddit. Another place that you can read up on this is the Telegram group. And there is a Telegram channel. It's t.me/DAD_token, DAD token. And that's where all the people are chatting about it if you want to engage in the community discussion right there. So that's where you can find it. There's no official website for this because it's not an officially launched project. It's a really interesting project. It's basically a DeFi DAO with a governance token. The DAD token is the governance token, and there's nothing else built on it. It's just an open blank slate project. And I actually did attend the very first Zoom call. There was a Zoom call voted into existence by the DAO itself. I think it was Zach of Everything EOS said, hey, we want to have a Zoom call with the founder of the DAD token. And we all voted yes. And so Rahman made it happen. But basically, Rahman's very careful to say that they don't have any authority or power to do anything about this project unless it has been voted by the DAO. The DAO is the governance token. And he's making very careful and very sure that it's a decentralized effort and that it's not guided by any central authority. Blockstart is not in charge of this project. And also, just FYI, the LiquidApps team is not part of this project at all. They're not connected in any way whatsoever. When I heard DAPP Account DAO, I thought, oh, maybe this is the LiquidApps DeFi project. It's not. It's not linked in any way whatsoever. However, in the future, it is possible that the DAD project may utilize LiquidApps to build things cross-chain or use oracles or that kind of thing. And so I'm very excited about the potentialities. So it's very much an open slate. Now, I encourage you to read the very first post on this. I'm not going to spend time reading this right now, but this is the #1 post, the Genesis post of the whole project. And this shows how the tokens were distributed. And it shows the basic structure of what this is, which is really not much. It's a DAO, like I said. And I did my research and I did a little analysis. And here's what I wrote, the pros and the cons, right? So I said, the DAD project has the potential to be exciting. I'm doing my due diligence and this is what I've come up with so far. The pros. Rahman and Blockstart, trusted community members, look to be behind this. Honestly, if he wasn't the promoter of this, I wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole in its current state because I haven't gone into this yet, but the way to get the DAD token during the ICO, which is actually still ongoing right now, is you have to send either EOS tokens or LiquidApps tokens to a smart contract. And it holds your tokens and it sends you back DEOS or DAPP tokens in placeholders. So you lose control of your EOS or your DAPP tokens, but in exchange for losing control temporarily of those tokens, you get awarded the DAD token every hour. And that's the distribution model. And we'll get more into that in a second. So the pros are that Rahman and Blockstart, trusted community members are involved. And another pro that I see is that it has a huge similar potential to Ethereum's Yearn Finance or Yearn Finance, YFI token, which is a very popular and very high value token on the Ethereum blockchain. And from what I gathered, that was the general idea. Even though it's completely unformed, the DAD project is attempting to recreate DeFi capabilities such as Yearn has on Ethereum, with the caveat that the DAD project has the ability to be cross-chain when utilizing LiquidApps, which could theoretically make it even more powerful and more wide-reaching than a Yearn Finance. I actually don't know if you guys say Yearn or Yearn. I'm not too much of an Ethereum DeFi guy, but you get the idea. So those are the pros, okay? It has huge potential. Cons, these are not to be ignored. Its smart contract permission structure is currently under one entity's centralized control. This means it does have the potential for an exit scam. I personally think that Raman is controlling that key until he distributes it, which is really one of the first goals of the DAO, is to create a multi-sig and distribute control of that, which is very important. And another reason that I'm interested is because that is the direction we're heading. But currently, the keys are under one entity's control. So all that EOS or that DAPP token that you send to mine the DAD token could be stolen from you the next day. It very easily could. I don't think that it will, but hey, this is DeFi and this is the blockchain space. This is the crypto space. Anything can happen. So that's a con. It's under centralized control. Another con is the token distribution. A very large number of tokens were released very quickly in the first 2 days. I heard about this after the first 2 days, and I think a huge number of tokens were mined early. And so I don't like that aspect. When only a handful of people knew about the project, it doesn't seem like that's as fair to those who, like many of you guys listening to this, are never going to have even heard of this project before. So you're going to have to either mine the tokens at a lower return, or you're going to have to buy them on an exchange. And so I don't like that, but Raman actually did address this in the Zoom call, and he said that basically they modeled this after other successful projects that did have a fairly quick mining period. And I think what he said is that when you have a quicker mining process like this, you have people who early on are the ones who heard about it quickly. So they're on the ball. They're the ones that are the most involved in the space. And so they're the most responsive, and therefore they're the most important to have holding a larger number of tokens. I think that's a valid reason. I think that the other unspoken reason is that those who know about it before everyone else can get an enormous number of tokens. So it's very likely that the Blockstart team and Raman and any of these guys who knew of it before anyone else have a ginormous number of tokens. And because no one was really told about this. Like I said, you had to come on this Reddit channel to find it. Who knows about this Reddit channel? I certainly didn't. The way I heard about this was someone made a tweet about it, and then suddenly it caught my eye, and luckily I did some research, and then I found out about it, but you really had to dig down the rabbit hole. Okay, and the last con about the DAD project is that there's just not a lot of details known about the project. We are learning more now that we had that Zoom call and that people are asking questions in the Telegram group, but we honestly don't know a whole lot. And like I said, it's a blank slate project. So the way I classify this project is that it's a high risk, high reward project. It could be incredible, and it does have a good team behind it. And Raman's Blockstart team is devoting their resources and their energy to building it from the nothing that it is now to the potential swapping and loaning platform and the DeFi capabilities, cross-chain even potentially, that it could grow to have. And that's why I spent my time, and I'm mining some tokens, and I'll probably buy some tokens because it could be good. It could be huge, but it's really a blank slate. And here's what LiquidApps said about it specifically. I asked them, I said, so is this created by the LiquidApps team or by others? And LiquidApps said, the LiquidApps team is not affiliated with this project, the DAD project. However, it will likely be using and showcasing a lot of DAPP network tech, which we are looking forward to see in action. Multi-chain DeFi is here. That's probably the most exciting sentence I've heard in reference to the DAD project. So it seems that LiquidApps does know about this. They knew about this very early on, but they're not a part of it, and they're not endorsing it whatsoever. So to me, the fact that they know about this and that they're excited about it sort of here is another pro in its favor. Now I would show you the price of the DAD token, but it doesn't currently exist on any exchanges, with the exception of the liquidity pool on DefiBox. And you have to type it in manually. You have to type in the DAD token manually paired with the EOS token to even find it. But there's not a whole lot of liquidity. It's very, very underground and very, very new. So in my opinion, the DAD project for this reason is super high risk, super high reward, because it's not even on marketcap.one. If you thought some of these other tokens were underground, like Organix, which is listed here on marketcap.one, try to find the DAD token. It is not listed on marketcap.one. That shows you how underground this token is. So again, that's a pro in my mind for how early it is. So there's no exchange to show you a price feed, but I am going to show you this site. And this site was created by Hello Daddy 11. You can't read that on the bottom of the screen here, but it says Hello Daddy 11 is the account name, the EOS account name. And please do send some rewards to this guy because he made this site and it's incredible. And I use this site to claim my DAD tokens, to stake my DAD tokens to the governance so that I can then vote, and then to vote on proposals. And you'll see we have currently about 20 proposals have been created, and you can see them listed here. And there's different stages of this process. There's the creation stage, there's the accepted stage, the approved stage, or the rejected stage. And so you can see this is the DAO functionality here. Very cool website, very simple, but very complete in a way. And you can see the stats here. We're currently on round number 253 of the mining process. And every hour, this is how many DAD tokens are released to the public based on how much DAPP or how much EOS you have sent to their smart contract. So right now they hold 253,000 EOS in their smart contract, which is under centralized control. They hold 90 million DAPP tokens in their centralized smart contract. So you are taking a risk, but by taking that risk, you can get the reward of these DAD tokens, which currently are worthless, but may be worth an insane amount based on the team that is backing this project. And by the way, you can get back your EOS or your DAPP at any moment. All you do is return the DDAPP tokens or the DEOS tokens to the smart contract, and then you'll get sent, they're just placeholders, and then you get sent back your original EOS or your original DAPP tokens minus a 0.2% fee. Very, very small fee. So I've personally taken about 20% of my EOS and provided it in the staking pool. And I've personally provided about, I don't know, 10 or 20% of my DAPP tokens into the DAPP pool. And I'm just taking that risk and hoping they don't run off with my money. And I would love to be a part of a blossoming, blooming DeFi project from the very ground up before it's listed on any exchanges, before it's listed on any listing sites, and with the potentiality to be cross-platform, multi-chain DeFi could be here, especially using the LiquidApps cross-network capabilities with even Ethereum. So I'm looking at the big picture, like in a year from now. Imagine if the DAD project, or any of these projects for that matter, or Organix or DefiBox or LiquidApps are cross-chained to these other blockchains, and they have the same total token supply. You know, it doesn't take a math whiz to figure out what's going to happen to the value of those tokens. All right, moving on, guys. We are almost done here. So lastly, I don't have a whole lot to say about these last two projects, but the Vigor Protocol. The Vigor Protocol is similar in some regards to what some of these other projects do. It has a stable token, it has a governance token, and it has the ability to loan. Those are its three main things that I think that it can do here. And here it is. You can see that there's the ability to get rewarded VIG tokens, the governance token, by locking your crypto in an insurance pool to back loans, or by locking up Vigor in a crypto savings account. And they give you the APRs here, the rates and the yields that you'll get for rewarding or for borrowing, all that good stuff here. And it's a fully decentralized community. The smart contracts are multi-sigged. They have reputable community members upholding them. And so it's very exciting to see this project having grown. Unfortunately, I just didn't get in very early, and so I don't hold that many Vigor tokens. I wish I held more because it is a very cool project, but I don't. And so it is what it is. You know, sometimes you get in early, sometimes you don't. And honestly, in the grand scheme of things, it probably is still very early. And here you can see the lifetime price of the VIG token, at least on Nudex. And it had a humongous run up. Like, this is what I'm talking about when I say not early. Like, I bought somewhere up here, right? And, but the price down here was 3 zeros before you hit like 0.000239. And then it went all the way to 0.046. That's like a 20x multiplier right there. I really wish I had seen that gain, but it's not to say that there won't be other huge gains to come. So the Vigor protocol is interesting. You have the VIG governance token, you have the Vigor stable token, and you can do lending and you can take loans. And a lot of that functionality you can see is mirrored through some of these other projects, like the DefiBox protocol has a stable token. It has the ability to lend. and the Equilibrium token has a governance token and it has a stable token, etc. And the DAD project we just covered is probably going to have its own. I wouldn't be surprised if it has its own stable token, or maybe it'll use the Vigor token or other stable tokens, etc. So there's a lot of overlap, but I think there's room in the crypto space, and it's great because competition breeds innovation, and we want the best features, and they're not all identical, and some are better in some ways than others. So there you go. That's the Vigor protocol. And lastly, we're just going to talk a bit about the Bancor protocol. This is another one that I really wish that I had got in early on the ground floor, because I think they're an amazing team. They're a super incredible, talented team. Bancor allows you to do swapping of tokens. Again, that's another overlapped function. That's a very common function, like Uniswap, DefiBox, DAD probably someday. It's a very common functionality, but Bancor was one of the early ones to do this. And Bancor allows you to convert any Ethereum token to any other Ethereum token. But not only that, it goes cross-chain, and it allows you to convert any Ethereum token to any EOS token, or any EOS token to any Ethereum token. And it's underpinned by the BNT stable token. And that's the one I wish I had, because that, again, is a fixed supply across all the blockchains. And I see that being an incredible value gainer in the future. And because the last time I checked, Bancor had a tremendous amount of trading volume on its platform. It is one of the bigger swapping platforms out there. So if you got in on BNT, then props to you. I tip my hat to you, and I wish I got in early as well. But what they're doing is brilliant, and they've even solved the impermanent loss issue that is present on every liquidity pool swapping service. I should probably take a moment to talk about that real soon here. I know the video is super, super long, but the last thing we're going to talk about now is liquidity pools. So whether you're dealing with Bancor or DefiBox or Uniswap or any of these other liquidity pools where you have to fund the liquidity pool with equal values of two assets, there is an issue called impermanent loss. And I was outspoken about this a couple weeks ago, and I dug deep and I really learned quite a bit about this. Now, Bancor might have fixed this recently, and I'll get into that in a second, but these other ones I don't believe have. Like DefiBox has not fixed this. I can verify that. And I hope that they do, because impermanent loss is a real thorn in the side when you're trying to make a passive income. What impermanent loss is just a fancy name. It's really like a misleading name. A liquidity pool provider is likely to lose money when providing liquidity. He's likely to come out with a different token ratio than he started with. The only benefit is you have to hope that you come out of it with more fees as an award. You have to hope that you profit on it more than you lose, likely, through the automatic liquidation and rebalancing of the token supplies in that liquidity pool. So the problem is that these liquidity pools don't have price oracles. And because they don't have price oracles, they rely on arbitrage from external actors. And that arbitrage is an opportunity for them, and it's a loss for you. Because let's say I provide, the EOS and the Box token to a liquidity pool. And let's say that the Box token goes up in value more than the EOS token does. Well, I just lost some of those tokens and I gained some of those other tokens. Or let's say that the EOS price, in fact, any combination, if the Box price goes up or down, or the EOS price goes up or goes down, out of sync with each other, you will lose tokens. You will lose some of the tokens and you'll gain some other tokens. But on a net, you'll probably come out with a loss. And it's called impermanent loss because you just haven't realized it yet. You haven't sold. You haven't pulled your tokens out of the liquidity pool. And so what you have to hope for is that you can pull out your tokens from the liquidity pool when they have reached a ratio parity with when you originally deposited those tokens. And it's a real fine tight wire act to balance on there. And it's real easy to lose tokens. Like I've lost hundreds of EOS tokens. I've gained some Box tokens, but I've lost hundreds of EOS tokens by providing liquidity to those liquidity pools. So it is not risk-free by any means. And you have to hope that the fees and the rewards more than makes up for the loss you incur on those liquidity pools. But there's also a hidden factor that you're going to get get taxed on the fact of every reward that you receive daily. Sounds great, but you're getting taxed on those. Staking rewards are currently taxed by the IRS, and they're currently taxed in Puerto Rico. So I have 0% of my capital gains, but I actually get taxed when I get rewards from these services. It's very backwards and it's very messed up, but it is the case. So when I get taxed on my rewards and I lose some of my original tokens, I'm not a super happy camper. And that's just something to be aware of. You are going to incur taxable events on the receipt. Most likely, I mean, do your own due diligence and ask your own lawyer and your own tax advisor. Don't take my word for it. I'm not a tax professional, but it's very likely that you will incur taxable events on the acquisition of fees and rewards from these liquidity pools. So just something to be aware of. Now, finally, Bancor has solved the impermanent loss issue, and they have an article on this. I haven't read the whole thing, but basically what they do is they interact with, I think it's Chainlink, and hopefully they will someday integrate LiquidApps oracles to have a price oracle, which then allows them to do a little more of a fancier handling of your token assets and basically mitigates against the impermanent loss that every other liquidity pool is susceptible to. So if you want to read that, search for a Bancor article. It's a Medium article, I think, on getting rid of the impermanent loss issue. All right, guys, we made it. We made it to the end. If you got here, thank you so much for being with me this whole time. I really appreciate it. You're a true Colin Tux crypto soldier. And thank you so much for listening to all my reviews on these subjects. Please share with me your opinion of what you've heard here today. Do you like any of these projects? Do you invest in any of these projects? If so, why? Are there things you would like to share about them that I did not share, good or bad? Share this with your community. Let's learn about DeFi on EOS together. And I think that it's very, very exciting. Like I said, we're seeing a lot of recreated projects on EOS that have been proven on Ethereum. And so really, this is like your second chance to get in on the ground floor on amazing DeFi opportunities and make hopefully some good money. This is just what I'm doing. This is how I'm looking at it, and this is what I've invested in. But I hope that you learned something from this as education only, and I hope that it helps you in some way. Please please smash that like, please share, please subscribe, please do all those things that helps promote my video and just get my word out there, because I do put a lot of time into making these videos. And I love you all. I hope you're doing well, and I'll talk to you again soon. Have a great day.